which admittedly would give me a little bit better script than the one I have, because what I did was, if you look back on the video, that's what my company does. That's the edit, and then I'm doing a voiceover over the top of that edit. And if I were to just focus on the larger commercial stuff and larger commercial projects, I think I could have a lot bigger success at explaining things. Because the one I have now, I'm talking for 20 seconds and I'm having to skip. So I'm not really able to go into any real detail. It's very quick. But if I'm only going to talk about larger projects, I can talk over the top of 3 or 4 of those segments, and I can talk slower and more clearly and be able to explain a little bit more on each one. I also need to organize it by type, which is easy to do. There's a couple segments. One would go back towards the front and another one would get moved towards the middle, or at least stuff like that. So I'm kind of happy I'm changing direction, but you kind of threw away all that work, part of it, I guess. So I'm on my way in. Just gonna do a little dump trucking, no big deal. Get me out of the house for a little while. I was gonna bring Pem with me, but I decided to leave him at home. For those of you who don't know, I named Pem. His name's Pembroke, and Pembroke is my favorite pipe tobacco that I've smoked in a long time. Well, it's really Penzance, but I wasn't gonna name my dog Penzance, but Pembroke. So we call him Pem, P-E-M, Pem. And people kind of make fun of me for it, but I don't know, I like it. Because when he's being sweet, you're like, oh, it's Pem. Most of the people around that meet him really like him too. He's got a really good personality. When I took him to the vet, then the doctor's like, oh my God, I love him so much. He's so sweet, nice, and he was shaking his little tail at everybody, and they even took him out and played with him a little bit. So he's always been a real big hit with everybody, except he's scared of people. I took Josh and Randy home once, and I was locking the gate. Pem was sitting here. When I came back, he was pressed against the door going, get away from me, strangers. Which I'm happy he's not aggressive, but if he was ever in the truck and somebody decided to try and steal stuff out of it, he'd probably be like, hey, here's all the good stuff. You can take it. Give me a couple scratches. Okay, bye, strangers. So it's good and bad, I suppose, but still. But we'll get a little dump trucking done. Well, I thought for sure I was going to load and go. Tony's got to cut down this area kind of right here down to grade, and then I can take the 315 and leave. But it's for sale. It's probably the last job it'll do. Then it's going to the farm to go hang out at the farm until it gets sold. We placed some panels on it. It's good looking and good running machine relative to 2,700 hours. But he'll just cut this area right here and we'll be done with it. I'm over here getting some crusher dust, taking it over to Andy. I think he's doing a house pad or something along those lines. Then I got to run some SB2 over to the Dollar General job in Akins. Then I got to go to the pit in Akins and go pick up a load of black shale and take it somewhere. Not really sure where at the moment. Waiting for the beep. I gotta put it in gear too. And then maybe go back to the tire shop project and go grab the concrete and stuff out of there. I don't know if I'll end up doing that today or not, but never end up moving the 315. It's gonna need to sit on that job for quite a bit longer, and then I think we'll end up going and getting it probably next week. It sounds like they got to get a company in here to do some concrete saw, and the rental on those damn things are real high, so it's almost cheaper to hire out a company and have them send a crew over there and then have them cut it. So we're gonna wait and see how all that goes out. Ditch liner, 3/4, 57 rock, filter, big ol' pit. So, day changed, but get to be in the dump truck all day. Probably should have got Pim, brought him with me, but I'm sure he'll be just fine at home with his brother and sister. But pulling up onto the scale now. Back over here at the quarry. Backed up to some bee stone. Gonna bring Andy some bee stone. Already came back and got the SV2, delivered it, went and loaded black shell, and then strolled that out in their driveway. Now I'm waiting for the loader to kind of get back over here and load me up with the load of bee stone, take that back out to Akins. Then this truck needs fuel pretty bad, so I gotta go and get some fuel. I'm assuming the loader's over at SB2, just all the way around that corner over there, way in the back. So he'll probably come out shortly, load me up. Bee stone's pretty loud when it goes in the bed. This is a thicker demo bed. It's a 1/4 round, so it has straight sides and a round bottom. Here comes the loader. So when he dumps it in, it's not as bad as ditch liner, which is right there, but it's still pretty loud. It's 4-inch to 6-inch rock. Not as bad as ditch liner, but it's still pretty loud. Well, I'm in the granite, been running those loads all day. Sat and talked to the last guy, trying to upsell him on his property. It's a bunch of work. Sat there for probably 45 minutes. But I have the puppy and the ball and chain. Old bag or whatever you want to call it. That's the I might stab you in your sleep look. Your lens is closed. But I have Pam Pam. Does Pam Pam want to sing? Sing. Sing. Go Pam Pam. Good boy. That's a good boy. He likes to sing, although he's a little out of tune. See, he doesn't even want to go to you. He's very happy just sitting on my lap. So this the steering's acting up on this truck, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time at it tonight, see if I can fix it, and then maybe get it only turns 1 1/4 revolutions to the left and 2 revolutions to the right. And there's steering stops on this to keep the tires from rubbing the frame, because these have the wide tires, because it's 20,000 pound rated front end. So you can adjust the steering stops to keep the truck from turning too much. Staring at her. That's how he sits when I drive. When he used to go over the road with me. So I'm gonna try and get it figured out, see what's going on with it. So I brought Ashley to help turn the wheel, and then we'll hurry through this and run home and go make some dinner. This dinner just basically needs to be warmed up. She cooked it the other night.
But I told her to bring the puppy.
That's why I have dogs, to bring them with me everywhere. I could have left old ball and chain at home, but I needed her help. So, my allergies and dog hair. So we'll see if we can fix this and get this truck back to working a little bit better. Not even paying attention.